I think maybe what we'll do is start by approving the minutes from the last meeting of each board. Why don't we start with the Wakefield board? I did not have any additions to the minutes. Marcy, Elaine?
I had nothing, so I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the August 20th meeting in Wakefield.
I second the motion. All in favor?
Silver.
And I so moved. Why don't we go ahead for Melrose? You guys want to take care of your minutes?
I have nothing to add or delete, and motion to approve the minutes from July 24th meeting. I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? Passes 3-0.
Stoneham?
Make a motion to accept the minutes from August 12th.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
Okay, just for the record, that's 2-201 with Frank not being here tonight, so.
All right, so that being taken care of, let's move to public participation. We're gonna try to limit public comment today to about 3 minutes per commenter. Let's start, when we go in the same order, we'll start with Wakefield. Is anyone here for public participation, public comment from the town of Wakefield this evening?
Oh, for us?
Yeah, so let's start with in person.
Sounds good. Yep. Are you here to cut for public comment? Something
I
to do
think
with
you're,
Wakefield.
here for your case later, public comments for, things I'm doing case, yeah, that's all right.
I hope I have a case too then, because I had a case against a neighbor.
Anything that's on the agenda tonight, so, I don't believe we have anything on for chickens tonight, but if you would like to make a comment, we do have a public participation section right there, if you could, just, it's for our records. We do.
Yeah, because I spoke to Shelby and she told me to come here tonight because it was scheduled for tonight.
Okay, yeah, so, yes, if you could, see over there, it's for our records that we do.
Oh my God, okay.
Is there a question back there?
Yes, this is my first time at like any sort of kind of community meeting. I'm here for like an animal keeper's permit. So would that go for like this part of the session or is that later?
Is this for a pig?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Having the animal control.
yes, that can be for this portion, so we'll have kind of everyone take turns to go up, so.
Great, thank you.
Is that Wakefield business?
For Wakefield, yes.
All right, good. Okay. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself
Sure,
to,
my name is
just share your address, please.
my name is Diana. I live at 18 Renee Drive. I'm here in Wakefield. And I've been here for 30 years and I live in between 2 different neighbors and each neighbor has chickens. And on one side, they have only 10 chickens and the other one has like 30 chickens. And I've been in the same house for 30 years, never had an issue with rodents, with mice. And then my neighbor next door doesn't dispose of their feces correctly and attracts mice and rodents into my car and into my home. I had a problem with the neighbor. She had 10 of them and then 4 roosters. Then she was approved for 6 and she has 10. I'm not a big fan.
Did we get the address?
The street, yeah, I missed it.
The address where
I
you,
live at 18 Renee Drive.
Winnie Drive?
Renee.
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 Thank you. Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yep, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure we, yep, that's fine. We just wanted to make sure we had it. Okay. Great. Typically during public participation, we listen. That's when we enter it into the record. So thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else here for public participation in person?
Joe's Ice Cream, is that?
You're on our agenda for a little bit later. So this is just public participation.
It's my first time here too, so.
So if you could just introduce yourself and tell us your address, please.
My name is Rebecca King, 10 King Street in Wakefield.
Great.
And then I'm here just to apply for an animal keeper's permit. I have a pet house pig, little mini pig, and I've talked to Kevin, the animal control officer, as well as I have had a few calls and emails with you guys going back and forth just about getting a permit for him.
Anthony, where are we at with that?
Yeah, so we will be issuing that permit this coming week. Yep, and then if we have any variances that we need to ask the board for.
But for now, it seems like it's gonna go ahead. Okay, great. Excellent. Anything else you wanted to share with us?
Oh, no, that was it. So do I just go back to sitting down?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. Any other in-person business to do with Wakefield, Mass? Any virtual participants love to add any sort of public participation this evening for Wakefield right now?
Muted.
Randall, are you trying to speak during public participation? It looks like we can't really hear you. You might have to change your microphone. I'm not sure which one.
You know, those speakers work.
Is it us, Anthony? Are we?
Take you and let someone else speak so we can see
Yeah, we can
that.
see. Jonathan, do you mind testing out the microphone and seeing if we can hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Randall, we still can't hear you, but we can hear the other participant. You may need to switch your microphone settings.
Could you hear me now?
Oh, no, yes, there we go. Yep.
Great.
Okay, I switched it to my phone and for some, I guess it works with my phone audio. So there you go.
Okay.
I'm using my
Excellent.
laptop but I guess I can use the phone as the audio. I don't know, my laptop microphone must not be working right, but I can connect it to my phone. So we're good. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Randall Moraes. I live in 4 Overlook Road in Wakefield, and I'm just here listening in because there was some corrective action that was supposed to be completed and has not met the deadline, and
Okay.
I was given participation to show up, so I'm here.
Randall, thank you. I think we're going to get to the discussion about your matter a little bit later on in our agenda.
Okay, understood.
Thank you for joining.
No problem. Thank you.
Anything else having to do with Wakefield this evening for public participation? Then we'll close Wakefield's public participation and we'll go ahead and open the town of Melrose public participants. Anyone here in person to participate for Melrose? Anybody virtually here to participate for the town of Melrose? Okay, we can close Melrose public participation and we'll open public participation for Stoneham. Anyone here in person to participate on behalf of the town of Stoneham? Anyone virtually for Stoneham? Okay, we will close Stoneham's public participation and close all public participation this evening. Anthony, do you want to go to the training or?
Yes. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's so we can move to the training. Just for everybody's sake, maybe we don't do a round of introductions for the board members. Just so everybody knows who they are.
I'm brand new. Can somebody else start?
Yeah, Frank, if you want to go for it.
I'm not so brand new. Frank Winchero, been on the board of Melrose about 15 years or so. I'm a family doc here in Reading and live in Melrose and current board chair.
Did you want a dissertation?
Oh, sorry, was that too long? It's gonna get.
My name's Lillian Yadgood Kelly. I'm in the Melrose Board of Health. I've been serving, I think, 3 years now, somewhere around there.
Carol Ann Lasicha, also Melrose Board of Health for about 5 years. I'm a clinical mental health counselor right now, getting ready to retire. Yeah.
Marcy McCauley, I'm also one of the newer Board of Health members, just over a year, April, a year and a half. And thank you for everyone being here. Nice to meet you in person.
Elaine Silva, Wakefield Board of Health. I beat you out, Frank. I'm sorry. Yes. And I'm a retired public health nurse and a retired public health director.
I'm Candace Linehan. I'm a family nurse practitioner. I'm the current chair of the Wakefield Board of Health. I've been here since 2019.
Carol O'Laughlin. I been on the Stoneham Board of Health for about 5 years. And I'm also retired from the Department of Mental Health where I spent my career.
I'm Lee Taylor and I have been here for 7 months. And I guess I'm the secretary for Stoneham Board of Health, and I'm a clinical pharmacy specialist at Malden Family Health Center in Malden.
And we also have staff members here as well, just for everybody's benefit who's attending tonight.
Maureen Busby, Regional Tobacco Prevention Program.
My name's Anthony Choi. I'm the health director for Melrose, Wakefield, and Stoneham.
I am Anna McCarthy. I am admin for the for the Health Department and clerk for the Board of Health.
I'm Dan Thompson. I'm the Senior Environmental Health Specialist for Melrose, Wakefield, and Stoneham.
Melissa Lowry, I'm the public health nurse, regional for Melrose, Wakefield, and Stoneham. And Sandy.
I'm Sandy Brown. I'm the assistant public health nurse in Wakefield. And my name's Liz Parsons. I'm the prevention outreach and youth services manager for the town of Wakefield.
Thank you, everyone. So tonight we have a presentation from our very own Cheryl Spar. She works for the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards. She specializes in helping to train boards of health across the state. She also helps to provide expertise in many different areas across, including tobacco and other public health areas. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me. My name is Cheryl Sabara. I am the Executive Director and Senior Staff Attorney at the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards. I've been with MAHB for 25 years. 25 years. I've been involved in public health law for a little over 30 years. And we do a training for Board of Health members and staff. Three different in-person trainings, and then we try to do a virtual one as well. Once a year. This legal authority track usually takes a whole day. I promise you, we will not be here for an 8-hour day. I have abbreviated it. I've told and I've gathered there are some new Board of Health members, there are some seasoned Board of Health members, so this is hopefully just not too boring of a refresher for those of you that have been in this field for a while, and hopefully I will give you some worthwhile information that you can use moving forward. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. We provide legal education and technical assistance to all 351 boards of health in Massachusetts. That's what we're here to do. We're here to work for you. So we're going to just talk briefly about the legal authority that boards of health. And it's something that I think a lot of residents don't really understand what your legal authority actually is. I have to do this because I'm an attorney. You have your own municipal attorneys that represent your respective municipalities. We provide education and technical assistance, not legal advice. Next slide. So, I think we missed a slide. Did we miss one? No, maybe we didn't. Oh, we didn't. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, so let's look at where our general legal authority comes from. So we have a way that laws are written. And of course, federal laws are the primary laws, then we have state laws, and then we have local laws. But on the federal level, when we're looking at public health laws and a lot of other laws, we're really just looking at the federal government to set minimum standards. It's really up to states through their police power to actually enact and address public health issues in a state. And it's interesting to think about the protection of public health within the police powers. A lot of people don't really
understand that, but we are there as boards of health to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of our municipalities. And this has been upheld consistently in our Supreme Judicial Court. which is the highest court. And when you look at chapter 111, section 31, that is the statute that the legislature basically delegated their authority to protect the public health, safety, and welfare to local boards of health by giving them the authority to make reasonable public health regulations. And this is a widely accepted function of municipal government. And it gets controversial at times because you have the obligation to protect public health, even at the expense of an individual's freedom, and even at the expense of a business's right to engage in business. So that puts you in a difficult situation because you're always doing that balancing test between protecting public health and thinking about privacy rights and rights to engage in business. Next slide, please. So as I said, boards of health, the regulations that boards of health pass they are local laws. They stand on the same footing as any other law, whether it's a state statute, a state regulation, a town bylaw, a city ordinance. A board of health regulation is just that. It is a local law that addresses public health. And all rational presumptions are going to be made by a court in favor of the validity of that law. Someone challenging that law is going to have to prove the absence of any possible ground upon which the regulation can be upheld. And there's a court decision that's very important, but that we're not going to go into because of lack of time. When a court is going to review a regulation or any action that a board of health takes, they're not going to reweigh the evidence that you considered when you made that decision. That's not what they're authorized to do. They are going to look at the administrative record, and if you looked at your administrative record and you don't even have to, if you've outlined why your action was necessary, then the court's not going to substitute their judgment for your judgment. Next slide. So here's a case that I was involved in. It's from years ago, and it's a case where the health director fined Cumberland Farms for selling a flavored tobacco product. Even though the product was named Jazz, okay, it didn't have a specific flavor. It didn't say citrus. It just said Jazz. So Cumberland Farms appealed to the Board of Health. The Board of Health looked at, well, next slide, we'll look at what the Board of Health looked at. Next slide. So the Board of Health looked at various pieces of evidence. They looked at some, they did a lit review online, and they looked at some ads about this product, and they called it a new flavor. It has its own unique sweet flavor, sometimes compared to the flavors found in Summer Blend. Next slide. And so they looked at that, and they actually opened up the packet and they smelled the product. The Board of Health members did. And our law says that a product is flavored if it has a smell or taste other than tobacco. And they thought it smelled, or if they didn't taste it, that it smelled like something other than tobacco. And Cumberland Farms claims that, we didn't know what we were talking about. We don't smoke. We don't know the difference between where tobacco is cured or grown. And these were just natural occurring differences. But the court held that, and we know as public health folks and as health inspectors, that we use our nose all the time when we're making decisions about whether a product smells like mildew, whether there are smells in a restaurant that would indicate that something is spoiled, whether waste receptacles are very large and overflowing and have smells that indicate there may be rodents present. So we use our smell all the time. And I just threw this in because I really like this picture. Does anyone remember what this picture is of? You might remember this was taken decades ago, and it is all the tobacco industry executives standing up and swearing that nicotine is not addictive to Congress. Next slide. So there are other cases, and you'll see a lot of the cases that go up to the Supreme Judicial Court are brought by the tobacco industry. And that's because they have the resources to sue local boards of health. Most people that come before the Board of Health don't have those kinds of resources. And out of this case came a very important definition of public health. And it's used not just in Massachusetts, but it's used in other states in the United States. And it's the focus of public health is to protect the health of every member of the community. It doesn't matter whether it's a private club, it doesn't matter where it is. And we regulate public behavior frequently. We require helmets, we require smoke detectors, we ban lead paint. I mean, we do regulate personal behavior when we do that balancing test and think it's more important to protect public health. And just an aside on this, when the argument was being made before the Supreme Judicial Court on this case, and it was a case against a private club in Admiral. The Board of Health ended up prohibiting smoking in all private clubs because the clubs were letting everyone in and they were violating the state law. So one of the justices asked the attorney who was arguing for the private clubs, well, what about smoke detectors? We require smoke detectors in private residences. Why isn't that? Why aren't you saying that that is illegal if you're saying we can't ban smoking in private clubs? And he said, well, first of all, that law is only enforced when you are selling your house. You have to get a certificate from the fire department. And number two, that law isn't to protect the private residents in that house. That's to protect the members of the public that come in to that residence. So in other words, if you had a caterer in, or a housekeeper, or a delivery person, that's what that law was intended. Those are the people that law was intended to protect. Now, the last time I looked at the smoke detector law, it was to wake up residents that were sleeping because there was a fire in the house. That's why the smoke detector goes off. It's not to protect the caterer who comes into your house during normal business hours. It's to protect your kids and yourself. That was his argument. Next slide. So while I'm telling you that there are, your legal authority is pretty plenary, you have a lot of legal authority. There are some things that you want to consider when you're determining whether you should act or whether you shouldn't. And the first is basic. Is there a state or federal law that would prevent you from acting? And then you're going to want to look at, again, because of that balancing test, you're going to want to look at some of these factors. Is this actually just not just, but is this harm that's caused by one person against another? Okay, maybe there is a private cause of action that a resident may have against another person, but does this rise to the level of something that really needs to be addressed by the Board of Health? And then you'll see a lot of our regulations are about protecting the youth, protecting elderly, protecting those with special needs. Those are some of the cohorts that we really look to protect when we're looking. Next slide. So the bottom line is, just because you can doesn't mean you should. You know, you do want to think about, you are, believe it or not, you are politicians. You live in your municipalities. You need to know what your municipalities are ready, willing, and able to accept, because your regulation is really only as good as your ability to enforce it. So this is a case I just want to talk about for a second. In Brookline, probably 20 years ago, the Board of Health wanted to pass a regulation that prohibited the use of cell phones in cars. Public health issue? Yeah. How is the Board of Health going to enforce that? You know, the last time I looked, you don't have sirens on your vehicles. You're not you're not well versed in asking someone for their license. Are you gonna like stand at a stop sign and when you just, it's not something that a Board of Health can enforce. So of course, what happened is the state legislature passed it, the police are the enforcers, and that makes much more sense than, and Brookline did not pass it. Next slide. So in Massachusetts, we have the state that delegated the authority to local boards of health, and it looks different for different statutes. So the state sanitary code, both the Department of Public Health and local boards of health have the authority to enforce it. In some of these laws, and in most of them, the state has specifically delegated enforcement to local boards of health. Next slide. So in addition to that broad authority to enact regulations, there's also specific authority to do specific things related to certain issues. And we're going to talk a little bit about nuisance and noisome trades, because those are very comprehensive laws and those can be really challenging for boards. Next slide. So when I was in law school, one of the professors that wrote this textbook said there is perhaps no more impenetrable jungle in the entire law than that which surrounds the word nuisance. And here you are, volunteers charged with examining into all nuisances, sources of filth and causes of sickness, which may, in your opinion, be harmful to public health. That's what the statute requires. Next slide, please. And if you do determine that there is a public health nuisance, you are required to get rid of it, basically. And generally acceptable farming procedures are not subject to this law. They're subject to different laws, but not to this law. Next slide. So we're just gonna look at this. So this is a free range, this is determined to be a free range piggery. Would you agree that this looks like a free range piggery? It does to me. I'll just give you the answer. It is. Next slide. Please. Another free range piggery. Next slide. Free range piggery? No, that's not a free range piggery. That's actually a dump where three brothers lived and they claimed that they were a piggery. Next slide. This doesn't look like a generally accepted farming procedure to me, and it didn't look like that to the judge either who handled this case. Next slide. So there are some guidance tools for you in determining whether something is a public health nuisance. And again, it's a judgment call that you're going to make based upon your ability to exercise your judgment, your discretionary function. So there's no liability for the decisions you make as long as you're making them based on your judgment, and your judgment is based on public health principles. So you're going to want to look at whatever the circumstance is, and these are the kinds of things, I'm not going to read them all, that you would look at. Again, you know, is it contained to one individual, or can that one individual spread harm to others? Communicable diseases are always an issue, conditions that expose people to hazardous elements or substances. So those are the types of factors that you would continue. And if you determine that there is a nuisance, then you would order the person through your health director, inspector, to issue a cease and desist order and come before the board and give you a plan to abate the nuisance. And this is important. Boards of health aren't there to punish you. Boards of health are there to get compliance from people and from businesses. Our job isn't to collect fines and to put people in jail and to get preliminary injunctions against them. Our job is to make sure folks are in compliance with the laws so that we are addressing our obligation to protect public health. So if you can do it by calling someone up and saying your dumpster's overflowing, could you please just clean it out? And they do, that's the best possible result that you can get. So we're not there to make money for the town and we're not there to punish people. We're there to achieve compliance. Next slide. This has become a really very, very active area of the law lately in Massachusetts. And this is the law addressing noisome trades. And this is really interesting because not only does the board consider what may be a nuisance or harmful to residents, but they can also consider whether something is harmful to residents' property. So, let's just look at the next slide and you'll see what some of the types of establishments where this comes in to play. Auto body shops, asphalt plants is a big one. The noisome trade law does permit boards from either stopping a business from coming into a municipality, assigning a location for the business, and assigning conditions like hours of operation. You're not going to want to do this without doing it in consultation with your municipal attorney because there may be zoning issues that come in. And this is a case that was just decided last year where neighbors were complaining about this asphalt plant. They were claiming that they were getting noxious odors and fumes, which are part of the definition of a noisome trade if they generate these types of odors. And the court ordered them to cease and desist operations if those operations were spreading these smells and fumes beyond the boundaries of the plant. The court appealed. Ultimately, the court ruled that they were not going to substitute their judgment for the Board of Health. There was substantial evidence that supported the board's conclusion, and they were not going to substitute their judgment. Next. We're getting close. Just a brief look. We're going to go to the next slide because I think it's easier to see. And Anthony, thank you. So there are many laws and regulations that boards of health are charged with enforcing. You can just look at a few of them here. You saw all of the chapters in that manual of public health laws that DPH created and then MHB revised, and it needs to be revised again. Next slide. So if you look at this, and this is not the complete list, you will see that the knowledge required for actually doing this work as a Board of Health member and as a staff member is quite great. And I don't think residents understand that necessarily. I'm not even sure other municipal boards in your municipalities understand that. So inspections, again, we're about compliance, not about punishment. I'm not going to go through this because you're not doing inspections. In some municipalities in Western Mass, Board of Health members are. You're not. Types of inspections, periodic and complaint driven. Next slide. If you're refused access, and again, this is something your inspectors need to know more than you do. People do have a right to privacy, like we talked about earlier. So a Board of Health can't enter someone's home or establishment unless they're permitted entry. And if they're not permitted entry, then they need to go to court and get an administrative search warrant. And again, that's that balancing test You can't enter someone's private home. You can observe from the outside, but you can't enter unless someone lets you in. Next slide. So now, what are the enforcement tools? I'm again not gonna go through all of them, but one of the main tools is the permits that boards of health issue, food service permits, tobacco control permits, other permits, milk permits. You have the ability to suspend them or revoke them after you've given the alleged violator, notice and opportunity to be heard. Next slide. And if you can't get to compliance, and sometimes, most of the times we can, but sometimes we can't, and we have alleged violators that just will not stop doing what they're doing, you can address it in court, either criminally or civilly. But I will just say what a judge said, and I think this is my last slide. The judicial system is the most expensive machine ever invented for finding out what to do. This was a judge from the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. He's been retired, but you know, the court process is long, it's time consuming, it's expensive. And it's not quite as efficient as we would like it to be. And every court has a different culture. So your staff need to know the culture of the clerk magistrates and the assistant clerk magistrates and whatever the courts are in your jurisdiction. And I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything you can get my email from Anthony, from Maureen, from anyone, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Like to have the PowerPoint if we
Yes.
We do have
be
it.
shared. That would be great.
That was very informative. Thank you. I think I really enjoyed that presentation. I have a question as the legal authority for Massachusetts Boards of Health. Massachusetts right now is at odds with the CDC on the COVID vaccine for children. And that's coming up in a lot of venues soon. And we understand that the vaccine industry is not liable for injury. But if Massachusetts is not at odds, is not in compliance with the CDC, is Massachusetts liable?
No, and again, I'm saying no, but this question really should go to your municipal attorney. But in Massachusetts, there are several statutes that provide liability protection for not only Board of Health members, but for all municipal officials and all municipal employees, whether they're paid or not, whether you're paid or not, whether you're elected or appointed. There are several public health specific statutes that protect you from liability. There's a federal statute that protects you from liability for vaccinations. And there's a federal liability fund that's set up for folks that are injured from vaccinations. So there is no liability for what Massachusetts is in the process of doing right now. But again, I would refer you back to, holding vaccination clinics, all sorts of protection for that.
I'm specifically interested when it comes to children, because that has been a front, facing question that a lot of parents have.
And the federal government does not preempt cities and states from issuing vaccines. So they make recommendations through their committee, but those are recommendations. The issue became whether insurance companies would pay for vaccines if the federal government didn't recommend them. And that's when Governor Healy stepped in and said, we would reimburse if we got into a situation where the insurance companies wouldn't, but the insurance companies agreed to reimburse in Massachusetts, actually in all of New England, with the exception of New Hampshire.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So, have a good rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Cheryl.
Sure.
Anthony, are we ready to keep going on?
Yeah, the next item is a discussion about those, it's an appeal for their permit application. This is for town of Wakefield. We have some guests here tonight who are speaking either on behalf of Joe, both virtually and in person. Could you state your name for us again?
Sorry. My name is Attorney J. Daniel Silverman. This is in Wakefield on Main Street.
You can have a seat over there if you're going to be speaking on that as well. Sorry, and then. Rashid?
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Rashid Alonzo. Joe is my father. Sorry I couldn't be here today. He's actually in the hospital getting treated for pneumonia at this time. So I do apologize for him not being here. And I also couldn't be there in person because I'm in California medical school right now. So I do apologize for not being there in person.
So just a little background on the case. Rashid helped to submit a permit application on behalf of his father for Joe's Ice Cream in Wakefield. The health department denied this permit originally on the grounds of knowledge of issues with conduct in another town, so the town of Stoneham. And I was just going to present some of the background here, and then I'll allow Rashid and representation here to speak on this as well.
Do we want to introduce the other two individuals?
Yes, will you be speaking tonight?
Rose gonna be doing most of the talk.
Okay, you can go ahead and introduce if you want them.
I'm sorry.
You can introduce yourself if you want.
Oh, okay. So my name is Gizir Alananze. Joe's actually my father, and then this is my mom, Alam Katafe. And Joe's her husband. So,
Thank you for joining.
thank you for having us and, trying to help us go through.
So on October 29th of 2024, the Stoneham Board of Health issued a notice of food permit revocation for Joe's Ice Cream, effective immediately. This was based on an incident from October 4th of 2024. At around 2:49 p.m., the Stoneham Police Department responded to an incident involving Mr. Alananza and a community member. There was an altercation, no charges were pressed, but they responded to the incident and let us know about it afterwards. A similar incident had occurred in the town of Wakefield as well. Prior to this, essentially this board had considered the permit in the past. We had spoken to Mr. Alananza and Rashid as well at the time about communication, about some of the barriers. I believe English is not his first language. Yeah, so we had acknowledged that and we had said, there are definitely tools that we can help provide. After a lengthy discussion, the Wakefield Board of Health actually gave Mr. Alananza a translation device. And also advised that in a situation maybe where if there's breakdown in communication or if things are escalating, the best course of action would likely just be to leave the area. Unfortunately, there was an incident in Stoneham, and because of past issues in Wakefield as well, the Stoneham Board of Health had determined that it would not be appropriate to continue to allow for a food permit in Stoneham. And then prior to that, we've had incidents in Wakefield as well. I just wanted to bring this up. In April 12th, 2022, the Stoneham Police Department, the police chief at the time, Chief McIntyre, had issued a letter when there was a request for a permit, as well as prior to those incidents as well. On April 8th, 2022, officers had responded to an area of Calthea Street for a report of a disturbance involving two ice cream truck vendors. Upon the officer's disagreement, Mr. Alananza stated, "I will kill you." After making that statement, Mr. Alananza had approached the male swinging what was described as a large wooden stick and struck him in the face. They were not on scene when the officers arrived. However, they were able to be located at Mr. Alananza's residence based on the information provided by the witness. So based on this incident, as well as in September 3rd, 2019, another disturbance was investigated by Stoneham Police Department, also involving Mr. Alananza. This one not related to ice cream, but this one was more related to dispute over trash pickup, it looks like. So based on this history, I know it's a difficult decision. We didn't make this decision lightly when the permit application came before us. But when we decided to revoke the permit in Stoneham and we decided to deny the permit in Wakefield, the decision was based on not so much food safety as it is just safety to the public. I understand it's a tough position for Mr. Alonso to be in, to not be able to run his business in our area, but I believe just based on these incidents, whether it's each party has some responsibility, I believe that there is some consideration to be had about all of these incidents happening, and we've already tried to address this with him. Based on our judgment, we didn't think it was prudent for him to have a permit.
Alejandro, essentially, he's 55 years old, I believe. And this is his only source of income is the ice cream truck, which he's been doing for at least 4 or 5 years. He is living in Wakefield. He has a good family, his daughter, wife, and his son are all here in support of him. I'm not sure, even though the incident happened in April of 2022, I don't know if there was any criminal charges ever against my client. Servants, but apparently even so, he was still granted a license to continue on and sell his ice cream for until it was revoked in 2024. So I don't know if that particular incident resulted in criminal conduct. If the business dispute between 2 ice cream vendors who may have been too hot-headed at the time, but that'd be something that I don't know if anything happened as a result. And I was reading the Stoneham police report on the more current incident, and basically it seemed to be a huge misunderstanding where apparently some child only had $100 bill, and my client didn't have enough change. He also didn't speak enough English to say that he was gonna go home and get the proper change. Again, the police were called, but there was no physical violence. There was nothing to show that my client was trying to steal his money or do anything inappropriate. And again, I don't see that from the time that he's been vending ice cream to the various towns and counties and also in Wakefield, all he really wants is the opportunity to be able to sell ice cream again in Wakefield. I understand that the permit expires the end of October. He's currently in the hospital right now with pneumonia, but he would like to be able to sell ice cream next March or April, whenever the season begins. Again, the translation device, I mean, I think is probably appropriate. But again, to just not allow him to make a living, I don't think is fair. And there could be other steps that the board could suggest that my client would be inclined to do, just to make sure that incidents like these don't happen again. But again, it's not an ongoing situation. I mean, they're basically isolated. And again, my client doesn't speak fluent English. And I'm sure he's very proud of the fact that his son is at UCLA as a 3rd-year medical student. So, I mean, he's got a solid family background and he's trying to support his children. And I believe his daughter came up here from Texas, in support of her father. And, I really feel that, again, there's nothing, that the truck itself is unsanitary or that anybody's been poisoned by the ice cream that it sells. I mean, essentially, it's an issue that could be easily addressed. My client certainly would like that opportunity so he could go on, support his family, next March or April and start the season. He's only looking for a permit in Wakefield. He's not looking for a permit in Stoneham. I guess I'd turn the floor over to his son.
Just before Rashid starts, I just want to clarify, based on the police report from 2024, the exact quote was a verbal argument between Michael and Mr. Alonso ensued. And at one point, Mr. Alonso grabbed Michael by the collar of his shirt. At this point, the police were called. So I just want to make sure that, while we understand that there is a hardship of communication, this isn't the first time that there's been contact made with the individual.
So the person who was grabbed by the shirt, was that I understand there was a child involved in that.
That was a parent, not of the child originally trying to purchase the ice cream. That was another parent of another kid.
Is bystander.
I mean, that there was $100 bill involved in this, I understand, and there was communication issue.
Correct.
So was the child under the impression that was he in possession of the $100 bill, or was the vendor?
So to summarize the event, a child attempted to purchase an ice cream from Mr. Alonso with a $100 bill. Another parent in the area overheard this, felt somewhat uncomfortable with the situation because Mr. Alonso had tried to communicate with the child that he didn't have enough to make change for them, that he would go home, bring back change for the child. So the parent offered to pay for the ice cream and asked for the $100 back. I believe that may be where this miscommunication was. Based on that, there was a verbal altercation and a physical altercation where Mr. Alonso did grab the parent by the shirt. No charges were filed. Police arrived. We've parties departed, but
I mean, because it's an ice cream and a child, like. Yeah, just give the child the ice cream.
Is he still in possession of the translation device that we gave him? Or was that taken back at the end of the season?
He has the translate. If I may weigh in, if you don't mind. Thank you all. Can you all hear me very well?
Yes.
In regards to that, he does have the translational device, and in regards to this incident that happened in 2024, so a child had, I think it was an adolescent or some, he wanted to buy ice cream. He only had $100. He gave my dad $100, and my dad was actually able to relay, and even in the police report, the bystander said that he understood that my father was saying that he was going to go get change, but quote, per the police report, this bystander said that he didn't trust my father and grabbed the $100 bill after my father had attempted to give some change and was trying to use the change that was given to pay for the ice cream. And this person took the $100 bill and he was like trying to walk away. And I think that's where the misunderstanding took place. So in the police report, it does state that that specific bystander did understand that my father was trying to go get change and that he did not trust him, which led to this unfortunate situation of what took place. He does use a translational device, and that's why after that problem happened in 2022, he's worked 2023. He worked for the most year of 2024 without any issues or complaints because the board had been so kind to help us resolve these matters. I think this specific incident was that this person, quote unquote, didn't trust my dad, inserted himself into a situation, and it got into sort of a situation where my dad had to protect his property because this person was trying to insert themselves into it to say that he did not trust my father. So, the measures that have been taken by the board have worked since 2022. My father's worked the rest of the year. He's worked 23, he's worked 24 without any issues. So there is some merit to that he is willing and he's trying his best. And despite the fact that he doesn't speak a lot of English, he really is trying. And I hope that you all can see that as well.
I'd like to add one more thing. I'm not here to take my dad's side or anything. He raised 4 kids. My brother, he goes to medical school. My other brother got a ride to Yale. Me and my sister, we both graduated from UMass Boston with honors as well. So he raised us well, and he also does what to do and the right things to do. English is not his first language, so there can be a lot of miscommunication, like language miscommunication between people. And trust me, like he's not the type to hurt anyone. I know we brought up the incident from 2022. My dad and the other guy were both up at that time. They were both very, like, they're just two business guys where the other guy was just giving him a hard time. And it just like, yeah, it just got out of hand from both sides, let's say. But other than that, he had not had any issues with any customers until the recent issue. It's the issue that happened in 2024, where, as my brother explained, what happened exactly. So yeah, and I just want you guys to take into consideration that my dad is actually going through kidney failure. So he is doing dialysis 3 times a week for 4 to 5 hours. And this is his only source of income, as my mom is also a leukemia survivor. So he is helping and trying his best. And I just want to say he's been selling ice creams for years and years. He never had any issues with any customers except this issue that happened. And then the issue that happened in 2022 that was between another guy who also had an ice cream business. We have like a lot, you know, like when he was selling in Sona back then, like some kids will come up to him and he'll give them free ice cream. Like if they don't have money, he'll just be like take it, it's okay, you know. I just want you guys to consider it from every side before we move forward with anything.
How long would he have if we issued the permit? How many weeks? Was it the end of October? Am I correct? So October 29th?
They're still October.
I
October
made him
20.
aware of that, but he wants to be able to start fresh in March or April, so get the permit. You know, he's gonna get it, then he can start fresh, but he doesn't really expect that he'd be able to do much selling because it's gonna expire next month and I don't know how his health is gonna maintain for the next 4 or 5 weeks.
I'm sorry he couldn't join us today because he's actually going through pneumonia surgery. I mean, pneumonia issues in the hospital, getting treated for that.
Anthony, his daughter mentioned a long history. How long does the history go back of having, selling the ice cream?
He's worked in multiple towns prior.
That's relevant, I think.
He's worked in Milton, I believe, before this. He's been doing it for 7+ years at this time. So it's been quite
How
some
many
time.
years here in the Wakefield area, Anthony? It's like at least 4 or 5.
I believe at least since 2021, I believe. It looks like the record for
Okay.
starts in 2020 as well, so I would imagine at least for our towns, he's been here for 4 years. So under the consideration tonight by the board would be, I guess, the next season's permit. It wouldn't be for just the October permit, I guess it'd be for the next season's permit.
His permit's still active right now. His 2024 permit is still active.
I believe so.
Wakefield.
Yeah, for Wakefield.
Wakefield.
But it says appeal.
Yeah, so currently an active.
Oh,
permit,
you're
this
right.
would be for the next, this would be an active permit.
Do people reapply though? So would he normally, when their permit expires the end of this October, then they go through the re-permitting
Yes.
in March, right?
Yes, correct.
Problem was, I think he had tried to re-permit March or April delay, and so never had an opportunity to really sell this year because of the delay in making a decision.
Correct. So there was an application for this year's permit. We had denied the permit based on what we talked about earlier. And tonight's considered the appeal to the Board of Health decision.
So has he been selling in Wakefield?
No.
No.
Not-
I would like to add that the permit for this specific year was sent in on April 23rd. Earlier in the year, I reached out multiple times. I've came to the board to ask them about the status of the application. I was told that, we just have to wait. Mr. Choi sent me an email. He's been very kind and responsive to say it takes about 30 days. I actually only found out that it was rejected only 2-3 weeks ago. And so we've been waiting on a response since April. We've been patiently waiting. We've been abiding by all the rules, and I just want to also for you all to take that into consideration, the patience that we've portrayed, and the fact that my father is willing to work with the board, despite even the long process 5 months later, now that we are just, hearing back now that it was denied via email.
So he's only been working permanent there in Stone, am I correct, for this year?
No.
Oh, he wasn't permanent there either, right?
No.
Yeah, no permit, Stoneham or Wakefield, correct, ma'am?
Anthony, are you in possession of the police reports?
I am, yes.
The public record, I think.
Yes, that is public record. Some of it's redacted by the police department just to protect privacy from some individuals, but yes, I am in possession.
Yeah.
So that could be included.
So I'm curious about I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm curious about the 2022. I mean, that was disturbance between two vendors. There were or were not criminal charges?
There were no charges.
No charges.
I don't believe that part.
So where has he worked this year? Has he worked at all doing any kind of ice cream?
He has worked.
2025?
In 2024.
He has worked in Reading. He has a permit through the town of Reading. He has a permit through the town of Woburn. And he has a small permit through a pool in Somerville, but it's been difficult to try to get back and forth just because of the dialysis issue and the time that he has suspended dialysis, which is why I'm hoping to be able to get this license for him, which would make it easier for him to work, despite the fact that, for example, we paid for Somerville. Most of the times he's not able to go because of his dialysis. So this year he's tried to work. It's been very difficult for him. Definitely hasn't been able to support us as he has been able in the past with the Wakefield.
Do we know, have there been any reports of difficulties in Reading or?
I have not communicated with Reading's Health Department, so I don't, or police, so I do not know if there's any incidents there. I don't have the police report for 2022. Based on the letter from the chief of police back in 2022, it looks like there was a criminal complaint filed with Woburn District Court for charges of assault and battery by dangerous weapon, and threats to commit a crime, but there's no outcome to this letter, so I don't know what the outcome is. I don't have the outcome right now.
That was between
Two vendors.
the two vendors.
Correct.
Right.
The two members, yeah.
And do we have any history of like reported issues prior to this
Or complaints or
incident
just.
between the community and Mr. Alananza?
We've had other complaints, but they're difficult to substantiate. There were complaints about Mr. Alananza parking at a school, coming to events unsanctioned, without a permit. Those were difficult for us to verify, so that's why we didn't include it in the.
Okay, but as far as like personal altercations,
None other than we talked about tonight.
and this incident in 2019 that was mentioned, seems like it really didn't have to do with his business. It was more between an issue between him and the town of Stoneham.
Correct. It looks like it was between a town trash contractor employee and Mr. Alananza. This was included by the chief of police in Stoneham in his letter rejecting their application for license to peddle from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Because of the history.
Correct. So the chief of police in Stoneham at the time had cited 2019 incident as well as the 2022 incident.
Okay.
Sorry,
That's
this,
2024.
so this is the rejection that he's referring to in 2022. Actually for the year 25, I talked to Chief O'Connor from Stoneham Police Department. He actually did sign a chief certificate, which has led us to get the peddler permit from the state that we've been able to use to get in other towns. I've spoken extensively with the chief of police, Chief O'Connor, sort of explained to him the situation, brought him everything as we've talked about. And he said, I get it. He doesn't speak English, let's just try to do better. And actually he called me, I called him last week. I let him know that we're having this meeting. He said, look, he's been doing great the whole year. He hasn't had any issues. You should definitely try to appeal and go with it. But, try to get the license back if he wants to in Wakefield. And he's been very supportive of us as well. So he did sign this chief of certificate.
Just to clarify, this letter from 2022 is from a former police chief, not from the current.
Correct.
Well, I'm a little confused now. So the police chief of Stoneham is encouraging the family, encouraging Mr. D'Alessandro to appeal the decision of Wakefield. Is that correct?
That sounds like what it sounds like what Rashid just said.
Okay, well, I just think that's a little unusual I mean, it's particularly where the Board of Health in Stoneham did pull the permit. So I'm just not following that line of thinking.
I was just referring to a conversation that I had with Chief O'Connor. So the letter that
Right.
Mr. was referring to is from 22. The
Right.
issue from 24 was when the Chief O'Connor is the current chief that has actually originally pulled that permit and said, hey, there's this incident that happened on the 24th. Talked to Chief O'Connor. He was kind enough to, hear me out, allow me to speak. He did sign the chief certificate, allowing him to get the peddler permit. And I called him last week. I said, hey, just want to say thank you for your support. We are going to do this. He said, he's been doing well. I think you should do it. Go through with it. Tell them what happened. And hopefully, you can get it cleared up and be able to sell again in Wakefield. That's the conversation I was referring to over phone.
I see.
I don't know, but my personal recommendation to the board here and to Wakefield is that I would like to table this till the next permit season, because I would like to look into Reading and these other places where he's been this year and see if he's had a problem. And also, I mean, we gave him that translation device. Is that not working for him? Or says he forget it or not use it, or, is there another reason? Did it work or didn't it work? What we recommended before, but it's such a short season. The gentleman is obviously have some medical problems. It'd only be for a couple of weeks. We don't want him to come back to work and be ill. And that's when you're not physically, you're not mentally, and that's when problems happen. And, I think we should wait until the next thing and find out if there's anything else in these other communities and then revisit this.
Okay, so for next steps, we'll reach out to the Reading Health Department as well.
Reading, Woburn.
Yes, yeah.
Do we think we can get a copy of the letter that Rashid is mentioning right now? Do you have a copy?
Yes, I do have a
Okay.
I do have a copy of the letter. Yes, so we'll include that in the record. We can send that out with the minutes as well.
Okay. Yeah, it would be interesting to see what we can see from those police reports.
Yes.
Well. Yeah, I think tabling it is fair. Does it seem like your dad, Rashid, is planning to sell more ice cream this season?
I mean, unfortunately, with the board taking quite some time to get back to us this season, probably, I mean, he's going to stop working as of right, probably in 7 days. I think out of this meeting, we were just hoping to clear the past issues so that moving forward, he just has an easier time of trying to get a license or a permit, because this season alone, I've come to the department 4 times myself, even when I was able to travel to Boston, and I was continually told to wait. And it's 5 months later. I think that's the only concern that I would like to bring up at this time. I understand your guys' decision or recommendation to table it for now, but I guess moving forward, how will the process work? Is it going to take this long? Because, we did submit it in April. It did take quite some time. I was told it would take about 30 days. It took quite more than that. And I had to reach out for a decision. I never got a letter in the email or anything like that. I had to reach out multiple times, and I'm more than happy to provide those email threads as well, with me continually reaching out to ask about the situation. The secretary for the Wakefield Department of Health could also tell you that I've dropped by and asked her. She just says that online it says the application stopped. It doesn't really say an explanation. I also tried to reach out on the online portal to say, hey, the application was stopped. Could you please give me an explanation? Is it denied? Is it not? And I never got a response.
Yeah, that sounds frustrating. Okay.
Excuse me.
How soon can the permit be applied for the upcoming season?
I believe the application cycle is now,
Open now.
So,
I believe so.
so I'm hearing what they're saying, and as someone, if they're found acceptable to have a permit, it would be nicer to have it sooner than later. These two incidents are a couple of years apart, and I was under the impression with the one with 2024 that it involved a child, but it again sounds like it involved two adults.
Correct, yeah.
So there could be a lot of things at play there. You know, we weren't there. But it would be fair, in my opinion, if he were to get it sooner than later, if he were found to be an acceptable applicant. I don't know if that means tabling it till the next meeting or.
But I think we really and truly should look into where he's
I
been
agree.
recently. Yeah.
Collect some information.
Yeah, let's
Mhm.
collect that information and given this is what, September, October, November?
I didn't realize he hadn't been
I thought he was
working in
here, yeah.
Wakefield.
I thought he had a
So,
permit
yeah,
already.
it would be, and then it's not one of our kind of neighboring.
Yeah.
Well, as a tri board, you have experience with him in the other communities.
Correct.
Yeah, so
He's served in Stoneham. I don't ever think he's ever had. a-
maybe not Melrose. Okay.
But I believe he's had a Stoneham permit before, and that's where some of these
Mhm.
incidents took place.
It would take you a good 30 to 60 days, right, to gather this information?
Yeah. And
Because
that's
it's
reasonable.
slow season.
Yeah, I mean, we can also reach out after this
Okay.
meeting. It wouldn't be too long.
I think the October meeting might be a little bit too soon, maybe November. We would revisit November and look at that information that we've gathered, what's going on this year. And, you know, is what we did before, you said, that our recommendation with the translating device worked, but is it working now? Or is he need something more? I don't know what he would need more.
Was what happened in Stoneham related to like a miscommunication, like a language barrier? Or was it like more of a personality dispute? Like what?
We weren't comfortable with the grabbing of someone's
Sure.
collar.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and the previous issue with the, the potential weapon, I mean, I know it was a stick, but still, I think, and it is very understandable that there may be, there may have been a language barrier, and we appreciate how difficult that can be, but I think it was the repeated,
So that was the
Yeah.
parent that stepped in that the collar was grabbed.
right?
Okay.
And that was concerning to us, and
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
to reissue a permit.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Mhm.
So collect more information, table it for 30 to 60 days.
Do you want a motion?
Yeah, do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to table this till the November 2025 and to ensure then by that time that we do have the information from the neighboring towns where he has worked this year.
I second the motion.
On favor?
Table, November, aye, Macaulay.
Silver, aye.
Linehan, aye. Any last comments from Mr. Alonso's family for presentation?
Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We're feeling prepared to move on to Overlook Brook.
Yes, for Overlook Road, this is. Yep. It's good. Yeah, so Dan has the information for Overlook Road. We also have participants from both parties here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So these gentlemen here.
And go first.
Yes, so with regard to 4 Overlook Road, I was contacted by the tenant in late June 30th, for a comprehensive housing inspection at the address. So they conducted that inspection. And there were a number of violations that were not to in compliance with the housing codes. An order to correct was created, sent to the landlords as well as the tenants. Many of those violations were corrected within the allotted time frame for correction. However, there were some outstanding violations that still have not been corrected to this day. So they exceeded the 30-day time frame for correction, and that consisted of several windows that either were broken, the glass shattered, unable to be opened properly or closed properly, and a floor bathroom that was missing a compliant partition and door. There's just a big curtain for privacy on there. So those are the outstanding violations, and it's clear in the housing code that if you do exceed the 30-day time frame for correction, it is to be brought to the board to be spoken about and determine what the new time frame for correction should be, or if it's necessary to elevate it and bring it to Northeast Housing Court as a civil complaint. So that's a general overview of the situation. We have both the landlord and the tenant here as well, if you know, they would also like to speak on circumstance.
Online right now, we have Randall, who I believe is the tenant. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. And the gentlemen here are the
Yes.
owners, the property owners?
Yes, I am. I'm an employee of the landlord.
Okay.
Randall, would you like to move this?
Hello, good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
How you guys doing tonight? So yeah, I am the tenant of 4 Overlook Road. My name is Randall Moraes, and I was just told to come here and join because we have some outstanding violations that weren't corrected in the time allotted. And I just wanted to know how we could just proceed forward. I'm very new to this kind of things, but you know, I looked into it and I kind of read into it, and I'm just here to participate and just put in my part. Any questions and stuff like that, I can also ask at the end. And I just want to know how we could just move this forward.
Was this complaint initiated by Mr. Morris?
Believe so.
Correct, yes. So he contacted the
So-
office requesting an inspection.
He
So-
contacted us, yeah.
Yeah, let me just kind of clarify that in a bit. So in about late June, my daughter, I have a 9-year-old daughter that I live with. She had an incident in the restroom, in the bathroom, while she was bathing at night. She got up to hold the handle, and it broke off, and she screamed, and I ran from the other room. You know, luckily she didn't get hurt. She was attempting to get up from her bath, and the handle broke off with the tiles, and that prompted me to take pictures, and I sent the pictures the very next morning to the landlord himself. I have proof, and I sent certified letter as well, and I just wanted that to be fixed. And I was concerned about mold underneath and the wetness because it just got yanked off very easy. Now my daughter did not get hurt, fortunately, but I just want to avoid any future occurrences that, you know, may occur. And it seems that, you know, the landlord like dragged their feet. I wanted somebody professional with a license to come look at it because it was mold and it was wet behind. As of now, it still leaks underneath there. I brought that to their attention numerous times. Every time I take a shower, it leaks in the outside. And I was concerned for her well-being. So since he sent Sean, which is the property manager right there, and Juan Olivas, I asked them prior to entering if they hold licenses. They said no. I allowed them access to the home. They walked in. They later proceeded to do their work. Um, I wasn't satisfied with what was done, so I contacted you guys, and I wanted an inspection done. And that's when they prompted me, like, "Oh, we could also do an inspection in the whole home if you'd like." And I said, "Sure, why not? You're already here." So we did the whole inspection of the home. To my surprise, there was a bunch of violations, which I'm not, like I said, I'm not educated enough to know certain things. But I'm glad I got somebody professional, and this is why I wanted somebody with the license and professional to, you know, see these things. And they noted them, and as you know, as Daniel explained, they corrected some of them, but there's still some that aren't corrected, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you, that's helpful. Should we hear from the property owners?
Sure, yeah. My name's Mike Schramowitz. I'm one of the managers of PM Homes LLC, who owns the property at Four Overlook Road. All of which was Randall said it was correct about the leak in the handle coming off the shower. He did, send us photos within, I think, couple, 2 months ago, so I think within 3 days. I sent Sean in there. He made the repairs. I have an invoice from Spaldor Plumbing and Heating, who is a licensed plumber. They did inspect the leak. They specified on the invoice that the leak was coming from, looks like I'll let you guys read this, but it looks like it's some missing tiles, some loose tiles or some cracks near the tub, which in turn, if you fill a tub up or take a bath or even a shower, if it overflowed, water could, ultimately leak. So what we did was we rectified that by replacing all the floors in the bath. So Juan, one of our employees, and Sean, one of my other employees, they went and installed that.
And also retiled.
Yeah, additionally, there's several items on the list. There was a bath fan, there was the floors, some of them were being pulled up. We rectified all of the problems aside from two. Neither of us are licensed contractors, don't have a license to hold that or pull permits. So we've consulted with a licensed contractor. His name is Chris York. And I was emailing, I think her name is Shelby from the Board of Health, the details about this. I said we can finish all of these items, but we're just requiring extension because it's tough to get things that need permits done within 30 days. He's correct. There is partition walls missing in this bathroom. I did buy the building in December. We adopted it that way. He was currently living there, so I couldn't really do much about that. I do have one note though, that I believe, and I'm not even sure if this meeting could make this determination, but that bathroom, and I was talking to the gentleman in the green shirt about printing something out because I forgot to bring it. But if you go to the GIS, the Wakefield GIS, the property card has the property listed as a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. So my understanding is that toilet, it's just a toilet against a wall, and there's a sink to wash your hands, was illegally installed based upon the building permit card. Otherwise, it would have been adjusted to a 3-bed, 2-bathroom after the building permit was closed. And I called Valerie to see if there's any other permits on the property, and we're not. So my question to you all is, can we cut and cap that? Because I can get that done effective immediately. If not, I have a letter from the general contractor stating he can get the work done within several weeks. He's backed up. We've agreed to terms, signed contracts with him. He's charging us $11,295 to do the partitions, which is going to require an electrician to install the wiring and the outlets. Additionally, all the windows that need to be replaced. Material delivery, he said there's potentially, he said it's all pending timely material delivery, but from today, there's all the windows are in stock at Home Depot. He has not picked them up. He doesn't want to hold them. And he can get in there early November. And he's claiming on his letter here, it will take approximately 2 weeks to finish. So we're here today to ask for an extension until that timeline.
So to the end of November, basically?
No, I mean, I talked to him today. He's like, Mike, he does big projects. He does, he says he's framing much. So he's going to try to get in there end of October, but he wrote down early November just in case. So I would say middle to the 3rd week of November. Yes, essentially end of November.
Okay. And then what's the status of the house like right now? The property, excuse me, Dan?
Well, in terms of if the other,
Is it, is it?
yeah, it's an older house. I will say there were no conditions deemed to endanger noted on the inspection. So there's hot water, there's electricity, there's locks on the doors, all of those big ticket items that need to be corrected within 24 hours, those were not present during the inspection. So in terms of immediate safety and health, that's not being threatened. To answer your question about the bathroom, it's tricky, but because those items, so the toilet and the sink have been provided, you can't take them away unless there's a gap in residency.
Yeah, it's not a problem. We're happy to build the wall. It's just if I know, because we're past the 38 threshold, I could get that done tomorrow. I could get that limited, but I can't get that done without a contractor. He can't get in there until early November. And
Sure.
hopefully early, end of October.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Would you guys like a copy of this letter? Contractor? I can email it to you.
Yeah, if you want to email, that'd be great. Yeah, so I suppose going forward, really the question for the board is, can we allow, or would we like to allow this as an extended time frame for correction? Or does the board feel as though it needs to be elevated, to the Northeast Housing Court for a clerk magistrate to review and ensure
It
compliance?
seems like things have begun in good faith and that they're progressing.
I
it
agree.
Seems like the property is safe. Mr. Randall, how does this sit with you? Excuse me, Mr. Morais, excuse me.
Yeah, so I don't, my only question was, so they were given 30 days starting by the end of June or the beginning of July. We're now, as you know, September 23rd. I mean, that's, more than twice. I haven't really been pushing the envelope. I just kind of been following up to see what's been going on. And it seemed like after like the initial 30 days, they've like dropped the ball. And I will say this, there's also, I know you guys said that, it seemed like they've been doing it in good faith. I also have other, situations going on with them that's not pertaining to this. So, I mean, if you, if you guys would like to do that, I just want something written in notes from me to say that they failed to meet their deadline, just for my own, sake to have on my end. Um, and I've been very understanding. Every time they ask me, in fact, they asked me to access my home for a week. They didn't show up. I made arrangements for that. I have the communications. I have the email and the text messages to prove it. I made arrangements with my mom because I also work a full-time job, obviously. And my mom helps me a lot with my daughter while she's in school. And we try to make things happen. Every single time they asked for access to the home, I gave it to them. Whether it was 24 hours or less, I said, sure, I'll figure it out. Because I was always understanding. I just don't understand why, you know, um, the communication kind of dropped off and it's been well over 30 days, and that's why I wanted to show up, just kind of want to see. I know in the beginning of this meeting here, I was reading, just like Daniel said, like if it would be appropriate to take some sort of legal action. And I saw on the slides there, probably like the last two, that said if they failed to meet, the 30 days, they could face up to fines. And I'm not really trying to push that, but at what point does this, is it valid to kind of raise these kind of concern? I mean, there is multiple ones that aren't corrected, and I know they're not immediate health where I need to live somewhere else right away, but they're pretty, they pretty much should be taken care of right away. I mean, there's pictures of them, and it's, there's a health concern. I have a 9-year-old daughter in my home that goes to school, and that's kind of concerning to me. So I just want to know, how we could kind of get this, like, expedite this, and kind of get this done.
Can I ask you, Mr. Rice, how long have you been a tenant there?
I've been a tenant here for over 10 years.
For 10 years. And when did you purchase the home?
December.
And is that
2024, and he called the Board of Health in June.
Okay, so you bought December 6th. And is it a one family, two family?
Single family property.
It's
Single
a
family.
single
Okay.
family.
Thank you.
May I just say that all repairs that we were permitted to do, we're not licensed contractors, were done immediately within that timeframe. Putting flooring down, we did painting, I had electricians in there, I had plumbers in there. It's not, you can't just find a contractor overnight to replace windows, and you gotta get bids, you gotta get prices.
Busy time in Massachusetts.
I think I can hear valid points from both sides of this.
I have a question. Based on the fact the new owner is saying that the bathroom does not appear on the,
GIS, you go to the
Yeah.
Wakefield GIS, you search the house and you click on the property card.
Yeah.
Gives you a description of the property, bedroom, bathroom count.
right,
I don't even know if this could have been done by, I don't know how that was installed or where it's installed. I don't even know if it's legal. But
so it seems to me like it might be appropriate for the building inspector to take a look to make sure that it's tied in correctly, that it's vented correctly.
that would be the permit we pulled, because we have to pull to do the whole bath. It's the part of the contract.
Okay.
You have to get plumbing permits and permits, so every subcontractor
Right,
associated.
and that makes sense. If you're doing this, you know, now you're doing this for renovation, but this is existing stuff that apparently has not been looked at before.
Sure.
Just saying, but.
Yeah, well, the permits would be issued, they would hold permits to redo that plumbing.
And has the process been started to pull these permits?
So, the contractor has not pulled the permits. We spoke with Valerie from the building department though, and she told us the permits would be same day.
Okay.
So he didn't feel the need to just rush in there when he's busy. He's been working on a project in Nashua, New Hampshire. So I just said, you know, just pull it. If you're gonna start on Monday, as long as he's okay with us coming in there, you know, pull the permit on Friday and you can start Monday.
Well, it sounds like if it's gonna be an entire renovation, it's gonna be a good outcome for everyone.
Yeah, new windows and new bathroom.
Yeah.
So I have a question also, because I'm not too sure on it, but like uh some of the repairs that were done, you know, I don't have any say. As long as they fix it, they fix it. That's, you know, that's okay with me. I just, you know, I just live there. But like for instance, like in the kitchen, one of the ones was there's a kitchen fan that's next to the window. The window is also broken. It doesn't open. It's right next to the stove. And what they're fixed to that was just cut it out. The fan, the exhaust to the outside, they cut that out and put just a white piece of board. It doesn't match. That's what, like I said, I'm not really picky. It doesn't have to be like state of the art stuff, but is that like code? Is that what supposed to be done? They could just cut out the fan, you know, and the window that's underneath it doesn't even work. They just cut it out and just kind of just it looks like a circle piece of wood was just put there and it doesn't even match. Is that the appropriate way to do it? Is there, you know, anything against that?
Yeah, so generally Randall, so if a landlord provides some sort of equipment, they do need to replace it or keep it in good working order. However, there are certain exceptions here and there. In this case, that fan acts as an exhaust for the kitchen. And it was installed, you know, decades and decades and decades ago, before you really had a hooded stove. So there is comparable ventilation that's provided through the hood over the stove. So it is acceptable for them to, instead of trying to repair that fan, just remove it and then patch the area. I'm sure that, you know, if you guys were to discuss, you know, if it doesn't look great or if it's completely out of place, you know, maybe you guys can work something out to.
Yeah, I actually attempted to look for one of those fans and they just don't exist.
Yeah, I have an invoice for that too from Four Star Electrical, licensed electrical company we use often. Fan didn't even work.
Yeah.
It was like a 1950s old exhaust in the middle of the wall. When those were in use I was born in 87, so I can't really explain. But from my electrician was telling us that these fans were installed because they didn't have the vents that went over ovens. You know, when you cook and turn the thing on, it blows air. That's what used to be there. Now he had both, so we just eliminated that.
Yeah, so when we think about these things where if owner provided equipment is taken away, we have to think, well, is there a comparable and sufficient, you know, replacement for that? In which case there is, you know, you do have a hood over the stove, so it is acceptable for them to fix it that way.
And it's a more efficient.
So what's our ask here? Are we saying that maybe we can make a plan to make sure things are happening by the second week of November and
Yeah, I think establishing
put a timeline here?
with the time frame, we're required to bring it to the board to approve an extended time frame. So determining what that time frame is and also the enforcement going forward if that time frame is broken again or is not, you know,
Okay.
it's not fixed by that time frame.
Okay. And what is the typical, like, if this isn't completed by the second or third week of November, what's the typical outcome? Like,
If it's not completed, it would be something I would file a civil complaint with the housing court, going forward. And, you know, that could be done technically already. There's two options. You either bring it in front of Board of Health to determine, or it can be elevated to the housing court. But in a circumstance where the landlords, they're receptive and they are actively making repairs and putting, the good faith effort, it's not always necessary to immediately elevate it to the housing court. I think that they are putting in an effort and they are making repairs. There are situations that I deal with where the landlord doesn't respond whatsoever. And, that's definitely a circumstance where it needs to go to housing court immediately. But I would say my recommendation is if it's exceeded past the extended time frame that the board discusses tonight, then the next step would be to elevate it to housing court.
That makes sense. Does anyone want to make a motion?
What was the time frame that the contractor gave you?
I'll quote it. I will start repairs in early November. I expect to finish in about 2 weeks.
So it's gonna start in the middle of November?
In early November.
Early November. Right.
So maybe by the third week
So
you,
let's just say the
November.
third week of November, and I'm gonna try to get them in there sooner.
Third week of November, is that right
Yeah.
before Thanksgiving? Right before Thanksgiving.
I would imagine it would be done before Thanksgiving. It's it's small. The windows, 1 day or 2 days. Majority of the time will be put down.
The 19th, probably.
yeah, why don't we say by our next,
Our meeting in November 19th.
yeah,
I'll make a motion that
Yes.
is be done. We'll extend it till November 19th. And if at that time you have not completed it and it's not a really good reason why,
Sure.
because you never know when you go to start to do things, how they start, they pull this and they pull that, and they got 55 other things to do. If it's not met by then we're gonna have to turn it to housing court.
That's
my
that's for sure.
second?
I second the motion, yeah.
All in favor?
Mine.
Yeah.
Probably aye.
And Silver, I.
Linehan, aye. Okay. Any comments, any more comments, Mr. Morais?
I know, I think that's a fair time frame. The only thing I would like to know is the as the colder weather rolls in, we have some concerns about cracked windows and stuff, and that brings my expenses higher just, for heating. It is a old house, it's big, so when those things happen, it just makes it a little harder to keep warm. So yeah, if we could really just kind
You
of
can fix glass. That's not a permanent issue.
so
Or
yeah.
can you temporarily maintain the integrity?
Sure, we could put
way?
some sort of, plastic wrap around it to eliminate the potential draft. Yeah, just have.
Good. Great.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
Thank you,
I
everyone.
have one question. Will this be in writing? Would I have a copy of this, like what we just decided on in writing?
Yes, we can issue you a copy. Everybody, all the parties involved will receive a copy of the extended timeline.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you so much, guys.
It'll also be recorded as well in the meeting minutes that come from this meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you all of you. Appreciate you coming here. Thank you very much. Okay. I think that might conclude Wakefield. Sorry, we've monopolized. We can talk about body work.
Yes, sort of been a Wakefield heavy meeting, but Wakefield is no stranger to Body Works as a whole. We've had quite a discussion that will come up again with our director's report, but this is more of a notification to the Melrose board. So we in the past have done a lot of work in Wakefield on revising body work regulations. I don't know exactly why, but Melrose never actually adopted body work regulations. And they'll have worked with Wakefield for years. So I would advise maybe the next board of health meeting that Melrose, I'll send it out in advance so you guys can review it. Maybe Melrose adopt basically the same regulations that Wakefield adopted maybe about a year ago now.
Wasn't that the recommendation from the last meeting we had about it? Because they were still working on theirs and we didn't want to be too divergent from what they were creating. So we wanted to see what they came up with,
Yes.
anything else. And so, yeah, we thought about it.
Yeah. I have it done. I just figured it was a very long agenda tonight, so we can do it at the next meeting, but a lot of work was done by Dan on this new regulation. Not a whole lot to go off about there. So I think this new regulations is strict, but it's fair, gives us the ability to enforce. Yeah, so I'll send it out before the next meeting, the board can consider it, and if there's any changes you want to make to it, you let me know, and then we can discuss it. Potentially pass it. If it's helpful, can we take this out of order and have the health director's report go first? Just because we have quite a few staff in the room, I've kept late.
Yep.
tonight.
Please go ahead.
Liz, if you want to go first.
Oh, yeah. Liz, do you want to come to the table?
Yeah.
Sandra, do you want to come to the table? Like, everybody can come over.
Hey, what about
I can set something up.
this? The young woman with
That's
the.
all right. We've kept, I don't know if we've kept you here.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure like what to do after.
Yes, so you should be all set. We're gonna.
You're welcome to stay. Yeah.
You're free to observe the meeting, but your portion should be all set. Yeah, so we'll be issuing that permit, hopefully by this.
Yeah. Disposal.
Yes. We will like this off with Kevin.
Yeah.
Fine, so.
Okay, well,
Thank you so much, yeah.
you. Can I take?
I believe it's covered under the regulations, yes.
You have to stay. That's
Was only an issue.
Yeah. Okay.
We should have the great speech treats.
Liz, yourself earlier. Yeah, some of you already know Liz, but Liz Parsons is our substance use prevention coordinator, in the town of Wakefield. She actually has worked at Melrose in the past, and she also worked on national action. She brings many years of expertise, and she has some, updates for the town of Wakefield, but that could prove, useful.
Kept it.
to the town as well.
Thanks, Anthony. Yes, I have had the pleasure of working with Stoneham, Wakefield, and Melrose. Since 2015, I was a regional public health coordinator for the Mystic Valley Public Health Coalition, so I know Carol well. Thank you, Anthony, for inviting me to just provide some updates. So for those of you from Melrose and from Stoneham, how we're staffed in our Health and Human Services Department in Wakefield is we have 2.5 staff prevention, behavioral health and outreach staff. So it's me, full-time prevention, outreach and youth services manager. And then my colleague Madhu Mohanraj, who is our prevention and wellness coordinator. And then Sandra Seguenza Hache, who is our social services coordinator. So together we're sort of the prevention outreach team. In my role, I also serve as the adult advisor to the Youth Council, which is a town council appointed a youth board or youth council who weigh in on matters related to young people in Wakefield. It's open to 13 plus youth who live or go to school in Wakefield. They advocate for issues that affect them, as well as do a lot of community service projects. Often one that, often bridges seniors and youth. We do some intergenerational projects and to name a few. Our staff, myself and Madhu, we also support our Wake Up Coalition, a substance use prevention coalition, and a youth action team, which is the youth component of this prevention coalition. We work with multiple community stakeholders to implement education and awareness, policy and practice change, and what we call environmental strategies, a lot of what boards of health work on, right? Especially as it relates to tobacco as a regulating body. So we're changing what, our communities look like to promote the health of everyone, especially youth, for our youth action team. And we also work across the continuum. So for example, next Tuesday, and I hope you all received Anna's invitation to a recovery and remembrance event is happening next door to honor those that we've lost to substance use disorder or death by suicide. And it's a really great, evening, but also very hopeful, a great community example of community collaboration. Some of the other projects that we support with the Wake Up Coalition, the Youth Action Team we work very closely with Wakefield Public Schools, building protective factors and reducing risk factors for substance use and mental health challenges. Like a social norms campaign we'll be working on to show that most Wakefield high school students are not using alcohol, but it is the #1 used drug among youth. We're building connections and trusted adult relationships was a proven protective factor for young people. And of course, we have our amazing colleague Maureen, who's very well-versed on nicotine and vaping prevention, and we've worked with her. I want to say too that we've collaborated with not just Maureen and Sophie from the Mystic Valley Public Health Coalition, but also Becca from Stoneham, Emily from Melrose have been tremendous resources and collaborators with us as we train a new youth cohort and youth action team. So they've been a huge support to me and Madhu. In addition to our prevention coalition strategies, the health department works with multiple partners. Sandra has office hours at the food pantry, but also at the library. We have a steady stream of residents coming in and receiving services from Sandra. I know she can't be here tonight. But I'm always singing her praises because she's always met somebody else in the community, and she's been here under a year, I think.
She's bilingual.
And she's bilingual, yes. And another relevant issue, I know Anthony brought this up at the Wakefield Health Board of Health meeting recently, but we have been asked by our town council liaison to review the alcohol regulations in Wakefield. Again, something that I'm keeping Sophia at the Mystic Valley Public Health Coalition up to speed on because it may be of interest to other communities. So we're conducting a comprehensive review and assessment of the current regulations in collaboration with our Economic Development Department, Public Safety, the Town Administrator's Office, and of course our Public Health and Prevention departments. So there's a lot more I could say because that's my area of expertise, but I will say that DPH, it's anticipated DPH hopefully will release a local guide to alcohol policy very soon for prevention professionals like myself to help educate boards of health, town councils and city councils about how we can protect the public from alcohol harms. That's my update. Happy to take any questions, and thank you so much for listening, having me.
Thank you.
Just to expand a little bit, it's gonna be a couple months long process. I think you had mentioned before we had one meeting before the town council, just kind of like to introduce the idea of talking about alcohol regulations. Originally, the idea of really the conversation was on sampling in the farmers market. But moving forward, this will be a months long kind of process where we engage stakeholders like economic development director, chamber, other folks in the community that have interest in both public health and economics. Economic development, County Cheryl so far said before, public health regulations should take into account both public health, but also business is one component of that. So we will make sure the Board of Health is up to date on, the next time we're before town council to discuss anything.
Part of the time, actually, what we have on the timeline is a presentation to the Wakefield Board of Health. So you have a chance to hear what the public health research is and to ask any questions. Yeah.
Also, Liz, is this still a regulation? I remember years ago, but I've been around too long. I think my brain doesn't. I remember the regulation, and I think it was the town council that put it in about when you went into a liquor store and for them to kind of keep track, like if they noticed somebody went in 4 or 5 times a day, and then to stop, they had the right to not sell them any more alcohol because they had come in and purchased so much, because that's how you try to see if they're buying, for underage and stuff like that. Is that still around, or was that something that just never really went through right, or was never followed?
I think that may have happened when I was a regional, maybe, and I would have to double check, but I don't believe it's an official regulation. I think it was kind of an agreement between the retailers and the town. But I can confirm that with you. It is illegal to sell to intoxicated person. So if someone is coming in multiple times a day and consuming that alcohol coming, then it's reasonable to assume that they may be intoxicated and you shouldn't be selling. But I don't know if that was the issue that you're talking about. It seems like it was more a sale.
So I guess speaking and needed a certain alcohol, and my husband 3 times.
Was it a single serve?
He didn't know how to buy like.
I need to go to different ones.
It was very good. I never made it again. I did remember that because I was so embarrassed. I said, don't go back again. But I couldn't remember. And I thought someone had a question like that recently. because they had seen that, you know, someone going in like in the morning, and some people, as we know, can put on a good act and you don't know.
Yeah.
They are, you know, are they drinking or are they bringing it to someone else to, you know, consume?
I see.
But they had asked me about that, and I said, I have to find out.
Find out for sure.
Yeah.
Shouldn't sell if he's not in.
Thank you. Any other questions for Liz?
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Doing a great job.
We have Maureen go next on a tobacco update.
Okay, I'll be quick. A couple of updates for you. All three of these towns already have the NFG policy in place, so. And in fact, the first three boards of health in the world are sitting right in this world, they're through NFG. And we are working across the state. We now have 17 communities that have NFG. One by town bylaw that was proclaimed 5 years ago, one by city ordinance that was Newton in December, or January, I forget. And then the rest by Board of Health regulation. There is some action across the state and around the world. And when I finish, I'm going to leave you each with a report from ASH, which is Action on Smoking Health, an international organization that's been working on tobacco control for years and years. So you can get an update and you'll see that Massachusetts is prominently mentioned, as we always are, because Massachusetts is a leader in the United States and in the world for tobacco prevention. Anthony and I were at a national tobacco conference a couple of weeks ago, and I thought I knew a lot about the newer products that come out all the time. These are ones I picked up in our areas. Soft squishy teddy bears. This is a vape. You just press it down. Or a guitar. My God. Or CD that you can vape and play music. There are other vapes that you know, that some of you have heard me say this before, they have an LED screen so you can tell how many puffs you have left, remind you to go get another one, battery life, blah, blah, blah. So lots of interesting things. But I attended a session by a researcher who keeps track of the evolution of these products. And he told us about the newer one. I haven't seen these yet, but there are newer ones that are coming out or out. And when his research paper comes out, I can share it with people. But they are collecting the information from the vape on how often you vape, when you vape, how much you puff. And that data is going back to the manufacturer. So the manufacturers can figure out what the next product is. So the more I hear about what the tobacco industry is doing, the more grateful I am for the courage of boards of health like these, especially being the first three, to pass this important public health regulation. So I just want to say thank you all for that. And then just one more thing, I need Dan's help. So I had an opportunity to do some of that, and we'll get it over here so these folks can see it. I don't think anybody's on. I had a chance to do like a vaping 101 for the 3 teen centers that are in the North Metro Boys and Girls Club, whatever it is these days. So I went to Stoneham, I went to Wakefield, and I went to Saugus and did a vaping 101. These clubs all had a grant from the state to come up with some kind of art project for tobacco prevention. It could be a podcast, it could be a video, or in this case, this was actually a mural. It's about 8 feet long, painted on canvas by these students here. Each one had a piece of this, and they wrote the legend inside. They did this on their own by themselves. This was hung in the Wakefield Library for the month of August. They were going to loan it to me to take to the convention, but an 8 foot long canvas mural was too much. And then I saw their newsletter, and it had a picture of the students, their middle school students who did this project. And I decided to have a banner made of the students holding the banner instead of just the banner. And we hung this in the booth in Chicago and got pretty good reception from what people saw. And then I was able, of course, to come back and tell the youth that their banner was hanging at a national convention in Chicago. So the point is, our youth know about this. They know more about this than we do. I just heard on NPR today when I was driving that they were talking about youth in West Virginia and the big vaping problems there. And somebody said, the vaping in the bathroom is terrible and the kids are able to just hide the vapes and so on. And the interviewer said, how do you know that? And they said, well, just go in the stall and you can see the footprints on the toilet seat because people stand on the toilet seat to hide their vapes in the ceiling tile.
Oh,
So anybody
wow.
goes to a school, maybe give them the tip that look in the ceiling tiles in the bathroom. So anyway, quick overview, since I had the chance to have you all together for once, usually I only see you one at a time. And once again, thank you for your fantastic support always over the years with all the tobacco policies. This area has always been a leader in the state. And I'm very proud of you. Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Amazing.
Dan.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well,
Thank you.
Really nice. Oh. Regeneration. We passed it. It's fine. Code.
Scary.
Be all right.
Yes, so we're almost there. We're almost there. Tonight we have two of our three public health nurses in case
Great.
Sandy Brown, Wakefield public health nurse. If you guys want to go over a little bit of what's going on tomorrow.
Well, it's very hard to follow Maureen because I don't have any props. Sorry, but, and I'm not gonna go over cases in great detail, but COVID is going up. Just so you guys keep your eyes on it. Statewide, West Nile virus, we've had 6 cases. 2 of our towns are, Wakefield and Melrose are, at the high risk level. Stoneham is at the moderate risk level. None of our towns have had human cases at all. It's just that we are in surrounding communities to cases. So we've still put out public information to try and encourage people to do all those good things to get rid of mosquitoes, you know, to stay out of the outdoors at dawn and dusk unless you know, are wearing socks and covering yourself and are wearing some sort of protection that includes DEET in it or some sort of natural chemical, just to protect yourselves. We're seeing a lot of tick activity this summer as well. Coming up, you know, people are vacationing on Martha's Vineyard and the Cape, and they're bringing it back home with them. So we've seen a few cases of that. In terms of activities, one of the things that I'm very excited about hasn't happened yet, but we've been working behind the scenes with the public health nurse from North Reading and a researcher from Mass Ioneer who has a retinal camera. I think we found a home for the retinal camera at the senior center in Wakefield. Michael Sandberg is willing to offer free retinal screenings to detect glaucoma and, you know, retinal problems. It would be an appointment-based system. He would come a couple of times a week and we would offer it it would be in Wakefield. We have a place for it here in the nurse's office at the senior center, but offered to Melrose, Wakefield, Stoneham, and North Reading. The community council on aging buses can bring people to appointments if they cannot drive themselves. So
Can that
we
get the
did get-
newsletters? Can that get in the newsletters for each?
Once I get the full blessing from the new Wakefield Town Administrator and we get a system sign up online, we can begin offering those.
Awesome.
And the images will be sent to the patients and they can share it with their PCP or their ophthalmologist. So I think that's very exciting for us to collaborate in a big way. And the next big item up on the agenda, I think for all of us, is flu clinics. And it's going to be for 3 to 4 to 5 days of flu clinics a week. days a week for flu clinics in September. Sandy and I are gearing up for that. The first one is Wakefield's Farmers Market on Saturday, and then the Wakefield Town Day on Saturday afternoon, as long as it doesn't rain, then it's moved to Sunday. And then it pretty much starts after that. So thank you to our Wakefield Board of Health for volunteering to come. We can talk to you later about details on that. Anybody who wants to participate, we are always welcoming people. I have a master calendar that I can send out to people if you're interested. So I'm going to hand it over to Sandy or Wakefield.
One of the big things for what we've had to offer is that we have installed Narcan kits in all of the public areas in 12 municipal buildings. So we're thrilled with that. I provided training to all of the staff, and the training is ongoing to be sure that we catch as many people as possible. So we're absolutely thrilled with that. We've also been providing updated information to the senior center director and also to their nurse volunteers who do the public blood pressure clinics every week. And they do a really great job. They get between 10 and 12 people in their blood pressure clinics. So there's an opportunity for us to share updated health information, which is great. And as Melissa said, we're working hard at setting up the flu clinics. And in addition to the ones that we're doing Saturday in the morning and the afternoon, also doing a large one at the senior center that following Monday on the 29th. We also plan one for the employees, the homebound, of course, and we are going to do one also at the library. So we're excited to do those. We're getting a really, really good response because this year we've been doing them sooner in the season rather than, waiting till the end of October, early November. So for the senior center, we've got 40 people signed up already online. So
And we're not offering $10 coupons.
exactly, exactly. So we're excited about that. We're probably not going to do a clinic at the Civic Center this year. We haven't been as successful there as we had hoped to be. So we're looking into doing an evening clinic here to capture people after work, bring their kids in after their, whatever they do for activities during the day. So hopefully that will go over well, and we'll continue to do the walk-in clinics at my office until Thanksgiving. That's it for me.
That's good. And from Heidi, for Stoneham, she's been doing a lot of great work. I'm just gonna summarize a little bit of what she's been doing, but she's been providing monthly blood pressure screenings, at the senior center. She continues to maintain the public health Facebook page for Stoneham. She attended a coalition meeting, I think, for the first time.
Oh, she's been to a couple.
Been to a couple, okay, been to a couple meetings. She has been working with Spalding Rehab, Stoneham Senior Center, and Stoneham TV to host a presentation on alcohol and its impacts on nutrition and foods to help increase energy levels. The presentation is going to be November, December 16th. And we'll have those clips online. If anybody's interested in watching, doesn't have to be Stoneham, you can really watch them. We also wrote an article for the same senior center newsletter on understanding blood pressure readings. Participated in the Stoneham Day, helped educate residents on tick bites, conduct tick bite prevention. And we have, I believe, 3 dates set for clinics in Stoneham. The town-wide flu clinic will be October 14th in Stoneham. The senior center clinic is going to be October 21st, and Stoneham school staff is set up for October 22nd. Those
Any questions?
I do have one other item of business, if it's okay, before we go.
I have a couple of things. left.
Okay, it's okay.
Is it nursing related or?
Not really. It's kind of related to Narcan, kind of related to, but I'll.
Oh,
a minute.
okay. So,
yeah.
I'll just, I'll wrap up a couple things here. Since we're on the topic of Stoneham, I'm gonna do my best to run through Thomas's report. Those of you who don't know, Thomas is an inspector in Stoneham, just like we have Shelby here in Wakefield, Shoshana and Melrose. Thomas does a really, really in-depth, reports on everything he does.
Say.
We really appreciate in-depth report, but who I best summarize his reports. So, just so the board is aware, we are going to be doing follow-up on Islet, Pignons and Bear Hill. Those three establishments we've had concerns at in the past. Isla was actually came to our latest meeting. They have a food safety consultant still. We're hoping to see more improvement. We'll be checking it soon. Daily Scoop had an issue. It was the first inspection in a while. They had 6 priority violations. They do have a re-inspection pending. They weren't, 6 priorities is a concern. Thomas did make a call and not close them that day only because he was confident they were able to address the most immediate stuff.
Okay.
Didn't get on the spot, but definitely warrants.
Wow.
Re-inspection there. Montvale Mobile, we actually received a complaint about the conditions in the bathroom, and sanitary conditions. I did visit, found 3 priority violations. I did find quite a situation in the bathroom, so we've communicated with them to get that cleaned up. Yuki Bubble Tea is Yuki Bubble Tea due, I believe.
I believe that's a plan review application.
Okay. So there's a Yuki Bubble, this is inspection. Okay, so a Yuki Bubble Tea, I believe is a new establishment there, and is going to be moving forward soon. Tropical Smoothie Cafe just opened, I believe, right?
That's going into Food Revolution.
Food Revolution.
Yeah.
So Tropical Smoothie Cafe is moving into Food Revolution. All schools have been inspected for the first time, I think it's twice a year for schools, right? Twice a year. So the first round of school inspections have been completed. And most risk 4 establishments in Stone have been completed. The Weiss Farm Townhouse pre-occupancy inspections have been completed.
Wow.
So I know Dan's been a big part of that as well. There's been a lot of units added in Stoneham.
Lot, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Stoneham is is the only town out of our 3 that has a required pre-occupancy inspection for both new construction and for rental turnover. So it's there's associated with it. The idea is that it provides both the landlord and tenants protection because they're able to have issues addressed beforehand so that they're starting from a level playing field. So that's part of the program. There looks like there's an invoice for 62 pre-occupancy inspections done at the new Hanover building. It was we were just awaiting payment from that. We have a few outstanding rodents and trash complaints across Stoneham that we'll be following up on. It's like a $50 noise ticket was issued to Casella on September 12th. So something that's happened in all 3 of our towns, we've had complaints, various complaints about dump trucks coming too early in the morning. Our towns have different noise ordinances, but it looks like a ticket was issued. And then I believe, Dan, you're following up on 70 High Street.
Correct, yes. Do you want me to speak on that a little bit? 70 High Street was another ongoing housing inspection. They were out of compliance with a time frame for a few things. However, it's actively being worked on. However, the more pressing issue is in regards to lead paint in the building. In early March, it was first discovered that it was lead paint. There was a lead determination done by actually one of the lead determinators that was involved in before I was. And basically, it just fell short of enforcement. It was determined that there was lead there, and the landlord was notified of this. However, nothing really happened as a result. And there is a child that's, I believe, 4 years old. in the building, and when there is lead in the building, there's a very specific timeline with a whole bunch of paperwork that needs to be done. You know, there's expectations for 30, 60, 90, and 120 days to achieve compliance and proper remediation of all the lead in the building. So I actually emailed the landlord 2 days ago just to follow up on the situation and make sure that he's going to hit the requirements for the 30-day mark. So.
The last two pools, pool season is finally coming to an end, which is good. Thomas is an inordinate amount of pools. I think it's like 17 pools. It's completely Peter Town, Wakefield. So he was just inundated with pools most of the time, but that season's come to an end. Weiss Farm failed their initial pool inspection. They did, I believe, pass their inspection, so they should be fine. And then the last thing, the office is now utilizing OpenGov for permitting. So that's a big deal. The building department was the first to adopt OpenGov in Stoneham. And both of our administrative assistants have now adopted OpenGov, which is a big step towards modernizing our processes in Stoneham.
Great. What's OpenGov? What is that, OpenGov?
It's a permitting software that helps to keep track of the process. The client side's very intuitive. They're able to submit applications electronically and payment. And they can kind of track their progress on their end as different departments either fulfill the obligations or reject depending on what's going on. And Wakefield and Stoneham are now fully integrated to OpenGov. Melrose does not have OpenGov, so we continue to use paper.
I know.
I was using it 10 years ago. Most towns.
Okay, that was it for Thomas's report. Was there anything else?
I just wanted to say, on Saturday was our town day in Stoneham, and Heidi was there, and we gave away 55 boxes of Narcan.
Whoa.
And that is years ago when we would start putting on the table, people would kind of like not come to our table.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to be like, we had some great conversations. So I'm also the chair of the Stoneham Coalition, which is a nonprofit in our town. And so we have our big fundraiser next Saturday from 3 to 6 on the town common. If you're driving through and you notice there are purple lights at night, that's because during the month of September, which is Recovery Celebration Month, Recovery Awareness Month, our DPW puts those up for us. And anyway, but we've got a tremendous raffle thing going on. If you really like Bruins tickets, Red Sox tickets, and some really cool stuff. So if you want to come out and support Recovery Month, it's also how we make some of our money. So to keep afloat. Cool. So thank you.
Just a couple odds and ends for different boards. I'll kind of run through this list. Narcan. So on the topic of Narcan training, we also had a very successful showing at Victorian Fair. Our prevention specialist, Emily Hatchwell, went to the Victorian Fair, got a lot of great engagement with individuals about Narcan. We're also in the process of potentially putting Narcan in all of our public buildings. Sandy still in Wakefield, which is a great thing. Melrose is now looking to put them in all the city buildings as well, making it accessible, training staff, and really just getting the awareness out there. So in progress. Another suggestion was made to us. Melrose downtown is vibrant. There's a lot of foot traffic there. We were talking about potentially educating our businesses as well downtown. In case they see something going on, they're able to, intervene or provide Narcan if necessary. So it's something that we'll be working on. Next meeting too.
That's something Heidi and our preventionist did
Yes.
last year. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, Heidi did a great job with
Our education process.
Becca,
Yeah.
walking down the street, talking with our businesses and really getting engagement there. We've already talked about the alcohol regulations process in town council, so we'll have more update there before we go forward the next meeting. Going to consider adding to the board's agenda for the next meeting is Kratom. We've had a large discussion about on and off discussion about Kratom over recent weeks. There's been some news about Kratom death in the last year or so, I believe in Methuen, Kratom is a very widely available drug in convenience stores. It's, it's got opioid-like qualities and it can kind of have similar overdose events as well. I don't believe Narcan works on it, I'm not very sure.
It's not really an opioid.
Yeah.
But it does give
Gives
people
similar-
certain euphoria. And a lot of people who are coming off opioids actually swear by it. That's why they're so desperate to fight against any regulations about it, right? I mean, Maureen and I've
We've had some
had a
experience.
couple of rounds with a couple of people, but yeah.
How do you spell that?
Kratom.
And they come in all sorts of forms. They come in powders, they come in pills, they come in drinks, infused drinks, like teas.
It's regulated at all.
Kratom soda, kratom gummies, kratom lollipops, yeah.
Gross.
Elixirs you can add to your coffee or your tea or your drink. The young man who died, he was from Drake, and I think he died there were others, but the one that really spurred some movement in Massachusetts, he actually died in Lowell, and he put kratom in an energy drink.
So it's somehow the combination of that probably made it, there aren't tons of deaths associated with it, but it's definitely
But it's completely unregulated, so
totally.
it's taken off, which means manufacturers may cut costs. Some concerns because there is no regulation. But there is a bill in the State House.
Good.
So I think we'll have a more in-depth discussion of Kratom in our individual board meetings, but I think it's something to consider. It's several towns have already looked at bans or restrictions. It's just, I think it originally was going to be a Schedule 1, the FDA designation. This is years ago. It was back in like 2018, 2019. For one reason or another, maybe it lost momentum. So it was never classified as such, but it is very much unregulated. So it's something that we want to be considerate of.
NIH does say that it is a naturally occurring opioid agonist, and you could try to reverse it with Narcan, but there's no real data to show that it would work. But I would try it if I had no other options. You can't hurt anybody with Narcan. So.
And then a reinspection of Socorro was conducted. Dan can speak more to it. We were there as well, but some progress was made. I know Socorro came before us the last meeting, I believe.
And these folks have a safety consultant with them. Yeah,
Still several areas need to be improved on.
they're right down here in Wakefield, like a big very visible.
Yes, they're right Main Street there. Definitely some cleaning issues still, some.
Situation.
Yes, some cross-contamination risk.
Yeah, it's still an ongoing situation. Or, one side, you could say that with a food consultant, there shouldn't be any issues, especially issues that are still being repeated to this day. It's a difficult one to balance because when you look at a risk-based schedule for, doing these food inspections and then what holds the highest risk, as well as their active managerial control, that kind of controls everything. There is improvement, which is good. The risky things like their sushi operation, their HACCP plan, and just general risk factors from the business are all getting better and they look good. So I wouldn't say there's an immediate threat. I think that there's a lot of improvement still to be made. But it is difficult because, their food consultant does give us updates every time she performs an inspection, and there's generally still issues, that are, ongoing and that reoccur. So we will be conducting another inspection, as the food consultant was there late last week. But yeah, it's a bit difficult, and there's definitely an argument to be made that, they could be brought in for another meeting for failing to meet the requirements of,
They've been with
relation with the food consultant.
for 2 months.
I want to say 3. Yeah. 2 months.
Yeah. And again, the consultant Victoria Hart, she gives copies of everything in translated material for them. So it is understood by the employees, and it's, they've been given ample opportunity to also come to us with any issues regarding a language barrier or anything like that. Mark was obviously here for a meeting with us, and he was very understanding of what the circumstance was, and that, we're not dishing out a fourth, a fifth, a sixth chance with things. So yeah, I think we'll conduct our inspection going forward and report back just based off of what we see.
And then the last item I have for the health report is the Peaceful Spa, which is on Main Street. It's across from Main Street Tap and Grill, almost in that little complex there. We have received a complaint about illicit activity, Peaceful Spa, and some concerning advertising that was going on online. So a joint investigation was conducted with the State Massage Licensing Board. So an inspector came out. This was on August 22nd, 2020, this year, August 22nd. About 1 p.m., myself and the state inspector came and did an investigation. As a result of the inspection, it was found that they were practicing either both massage or body work at the establishment. There were 2 individuals there. The owner of the establishment was not there. There was definitely a language barrier. I believe they both spoke Mandarin. So we did our best to translate. We had translation tools. But essentially there were a couple clients there. They had told us that they were either getting massage or body work. They didn't know which one. They did not hold a license from the state for massage, neither did they hold a permit for body work here in Wakefield. So as a result, they were issued a $500 fine from the state licensing board for operating without a permit. And we actually issued a cease and desist of all operations at Peaceful Spot moving forward. I also had reached out to the town clerk. They had a business license. And asked that to be pulled for now because we have received no communication from them since that point. And actually the cease and desist order came back, certified mail bounced back. It was not accepted by the owner. So the police have been notified as well. So we notified police and the building department as well, and the town clerk, that they should not be operating, and nothing has changed since that investigation. So in case anything happens or you hear anything, please let us know. We'll
Does it appear they're still operating?
Not that I'm aware of. I drive by there pretty frequently between the 2 towns. I have not seen it, but again, I'm not out super late, so it just depends. If you see anything, you just let us know. Or you hear from anybody, we can revisit it again. But at this time, they should not be operating.
So there's no plan for them to come before us? You haven't heard any communication from them?
No, I have not heard. When we spoke at the inspection, they had inquired about getting a body work permit. I had said that they can submit for one. The health department would immediately reject that permit. They would have the chance to come before the Board of Health to appeal that decision if they would like to, but we have not received a permit application. They were knowingly operating there without a permit. We also had suspicion that they may be living on premises as well. Just going through, there were lots of clothes. They were in the kitchen. There's a fully stocked fridge. There were cooking appliances, hot plates, things that are not allowed in an establishment like that. What looked like makeshift beds. So there was suspicion they may be using that space for residential use, even though it's a commercial building. And in the future, if you ever hear any complaints about other establishments in the town of Wakefield, please let us know. We are going to be moving forward on kind of enforcing bodywear regulations now that we have them in place. We do want to make sure we're
Connect with the owner of the building, because I would imagine they're tenants.
Yes, I did reach out to the owner of the building. I made him aware of the cease and desist. I tried to get some more information. The owner had indicated that he was not aware of their lack of a license or permit, but that he would address that with the occupant of the building. I haven't heard back since, but I did inform him that they should not be operating in there anymore. Any other questions about anything tonight?
When's it gonna end?
Okay.
Wait, so I'm freezing.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Seems we covered it all.
That's all we have.
So maybe, would it be in order for me to take a motion from the Wakefield board, or should each board close their own meeting?
Because we conducted this.
You opened it with one.
We opened it with one.
With one, close with one.
To the truths before us tonight, but no background information, the overlook and the ice cream permit.
Sure, yes.
Isn't, Anna's doing a phenomenal job, obviously. Would it be possible to get a package? So when we have a, it's like they said, pictures worth 1,000 words. The pictures of, you know, what they were talking about at the Overlook Road property and the police reports, that would be really helpful, just to be able to talk to people that are here.
Yeah.
Also when they would talk about sending the emails to you.
Yes.
Do you field all emails, or does that go to a central board of health?
It depends on the email. So there are some of them did go to the Board of Health at Wakefield email. I can see those, and I can see those, and I believe the board gets them as well. Or we usually forward them to. So it depends on, like, there's board matters and then there's health department matters. So like we do more like the administrative part. The board is sent emails if it's based on like decisions the board has to make on things, but if it's more like an operational thing, then health department.
That's what I assumed. There was a general mailbox.
Yeah, general mailbox. I received a number of various emails from Rashid on behalf of his father. So I was looking through my email list. I had started receiving emails from them in May. There were several emails back and forth, and then there was a pause, and then I had said, we can't make a decision. I told him we would likely reject this application, if you submit an application, but you still have to send it, has to be rejected, then it has to go before the board. That's the procedure. It did take him some time to actually submit the application, and then we reviewed it, and then there was a slight delay after that, but yeah, generally speaking, we won't bring it to the board unless it's been rejected already, or anything in the field.
Thank you.
Should each board choose their next meeting date?
Oh, yes,
That be in order? For us. It's 15 October for Wakefield.
I am away
for me.
toward the end of October,
Yeah,
but I
it's-
think that earlier.
15th October for Wakefield.
Please.
So,
I'm actually gone. Yeah.
6:30.
Six.
Thursday the 16th. Thursday the 16th, the 3rd.
If you move it to 7, I can do my clinic 4 to 7.
Here. 25.
That sounds like fun.
That was typically like the 3rd.
I won't be, I won't be then, unless I'm remote.
It's 21st works.
The choices are the 14th or the 15th, it looks like, of October, so,
Through.
yeah.
Everybody has to get a shot.
Thursday I'm gonna be away.
The 23rd. We're thinking October.
The 6th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so we have to move it.
Yeah, so we should. move it.
3rd. Okay.
I'm good the 23rd though.
Yeah, me too. But 6:30.
6.
Yep. Good. Earlier is better. You mind, do you mind? Earlier.
Taylor, we'll put it on like
3rd. Yeah.
Yeah,
That works.
23rd at,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
6:30.
yeah.
you really put in your time today.
Taylor is.
I do like getting the tribe together, but it definitely is 3 people. It's just kind of interesting to meet people from other communities. but
She may have seen them.
I don't remember. It is, but I want to think about it.
The mold.
No.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay.
We need-
All the dates.
Everybody's got a meeting date? Yeah.
Just,
All right, excellent. So why don't I take a motion from the Wakefield board to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second the motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Silver eye.
Linehan, aye. So moved. We will adjourn at 9:01.
Okay.
Great.